So I am going to talk about some of the key points that are presented in all of the readings and research that I've looked at that are about reading and the best practices in reading and the key concepts and things like that, all that have to do with reading for English language learners. And the best way, the main point was about how important reading is. Reading is like the umbrella over all other subjects pretty much. You know, reading is the basis that they need to get down in order to get other things. And the right book suggested that a balanced approach to literacy is one of the best methods, and that just recognizes that some students need explicit direct instruction in order to best learn their literacy content, and that could be based on the student. How much they need it's all based on the student. So the teachers really need to know their students and know their strengths and their weaknesses in order to determine the best setup that they need to learn. And that will also help them. They need to know their students in order to choose books to read, the levels of the books, and then like what type of strategies and activities to do with them. And it talked about how important it is to have look at all different types of reading, like students when they're being read to, when they're reading with someone, and when they're reading by themselves. Like all of those are very different. So it's important to look at all of them. Some of the activities or strategies that you could use are read alouds, shared reading, guided reading, and reader's workshop. And those will all benefit students that are learning English as a second language. Another source that I looked at was a peer-reviewed article about the best practices for ELL literacy instruction, and it talked about how important it was to involve families and parents in their children's literacy learning. This really is fundamental to their success. You know, like you can't just go to school and read only at school. That's not going to help you as much as if you go home and your parents know what you're doing and they know how to best help you. So it's just really important to involve the family in order to have students succeed in reading. I know it talked about this source talked about the intergenerational literacy program, which started in Chelsea, Massachusetts, and it's really cool because it has numerous goals, and they are to help parents strengthen their own reading and writing in English, and also to introduce them to the best ways to help their children who are also learning English. And it helps them with picking out like reading materials, high quality reading materials for their students or for their children that will best help them. And it shows them all the strategies that will best help them as well. They also offer adult literacy classes. So they're really interested in helping the family as a whole in their literacy, because if the parents are able to understand literacy and what they should be how they should be helping their students, then that is really going to help them succeed. And it did show one of the papers that they have there, and it was just some tips for supporting reading fluency when you're at home, and that was just to choose the right books, listen every day to your child read, read and reread books, rereading your favorite books. Those repeated readings are always going to be helpful, and to read to your children every day. So those were some of the tips that it gave for helping the family with literacy at home. So yeah, reading is really, really important. So this was definitely an interesting chapter.